History is packed with puzzles that refuse to be solved, mysteries so deep, even the world's top experts are left scratching their heads. What if the stories we all thought we knew concealed hidden truths, unanswered questions, and secrets lost to time? Today, we're diving straight into the enigmas that have confounded generations, shaking the foundations of everything we thought we understood. Ready to see the past like you've never seen it before? Did you know the first recorded naval battle in history was a fight for survival against mysterious invaders? Around 1175 BC, as ancient Egypt teetered on the edge of collapse, a coalition known only as the Sea Peoples appeared, sweeping through the Mediterranean and burning cities to the ground. Their final destination, the very heart of Egypt. At the Nile Delta, Pharaoh Ramses III prepared for a decisive confrontation that would determine the fate of his entire civilization. The stage was set for a clash unlike anything the world had ever seen. As the Sea People's formidable fleet surged into the delta, Ramses III sprang a brilliant trap. Egyptian warships lay hidden while hundreds of archers lined the shores, their bows drawn tight. At the perfect moment, the Egyptians struck from all sides. Arrows rained down, ships rammed enemy vessels, and chaos erupted in the narrow waterways. The invaders, caught off guard and unable to land, were decimated by the relentless assault. This wasn't just another skirmish. It was a staggering display of strategy, courage, and desperation that saved Egypt from utter destruction. Even with Egypt's victory, the Sea Peoples disappeared as suddenly as they'd arrived, leaving behind more questions than answers. Were they conquerors driven by ambition, or refugees fleeing disaster? No one truly knows. What is certain is that the Battle of the Delta marked a turning point that preserved Egypt, but transformed the ancient world forever. And while the Nile's waters ran red elsewhere, new legends of fury and chaos were about to be born, this time in the dark forests of Europe. Have you ever wondered why the Romans, mighty conquerors of the ancient world, were haunted by stories of wild northern warriors who fought with a terrifying, almost supernatural rage? The legend of the furor Teutonicus, the Teutonic fury, struck fear deep into the heart of every Roman legionary. Some accounts claim these Germanic tribes fought with a berserker madness, overwhelming disciplined Roman armies and leaving only devastation in their wake. Was this rage real, or just a myth spun by a traumatized empire seeking to explain shocking defeats? The line between fact and legend is razor thin. Ancient writers described epic clashes where entire Roman legions were wiped out by screaming war bands erupting from shadowy forests. The disaster at Teutoburg Forest, where 3 Roman legions were annihilated, became a cautionary tale whispered through the centuries. But behind those tales of barbarian fury lurked real strategy and organization. The Germanic leader Arminius, for example, trained in Roman tactics before masterminding his ambush. What the Romans called wild wrath may have been calculated genius and overwhelming motivation to protect home and kin. Still, the image of untamed savagery was just too dramatic for Roman storytellers to resist. But was the so-called Teutonic fury a convenient excuse for Roman defeat, or something much deeper? Over time, these stories grew into enduring myths, shaping not just ancient fears, but also the way entire cultures saw themselves and their enemies. As the shadow of the Germanic tribes stretched across Europe, another legend was quietly taking shape, one born in the wind-swept grasslands of Mongolia, where a future conqueror was facing hardship, betrayal, and exile. Ready to meet the real Genghis Khan before he became a legend? How does a child born on the edge of the world, ostracized, betrayed, and hunted, rise to become the most feared conqueror in history? Before he was Genghis Khan, Temujin's early years were a struggle for survival, where every day could have been his last. The legend says he was born clutching a blood clot, a sign he was destined for greatness. But greatness came at a price. His father was poisoned, and the young Temujin and his family were cast out, left to starve on the harsh Mongolian steppe. Few leaders have ever risen from such bleak beginnings. Temujin's childhood reads like a survival epic. Abandoned by relatives, Forced to eat roots and wild berries, he grew up surrounded by danger and desperate rivals. At just 9, he was already plotting escape from captivity after being kidnapped by a rival clan. He made friends out of strangers and inspired loyalty through sheer willpower, forming powerful alliances with future generals. One shocking episode, killing his half-brother to protect his family, reveals the brutal choices that shaped his future. The secret to his eventual rise was never strength alone, but relentless adaptability and an uncanny sense for trust and betrayal. Yet even the surviving records, like the mysterious secret history of the Mongols, blend legend with fact, making his true story feel more like myth than history. What other secrets were buried or rewritten by his descendants? As Temujin emerged from the unforgiving steppe, a new era was about to dawn, not on land, but at sea, where dreams of power would be measured in cannons, timber, and the race to build the biggest ship the world had ever seen. Ready to set sail for one of history's greatest maritime enigmas? What happens when you build one of the largest warships ever seen, only for it to never fire a single shot in battle? The Adler von Lübeck was a true colossus of the 16th century. Stretching 256 feet and carrying 138 cannons, it was the pride of northern Europe and a floating fortress meant to dominate rival fleets. Built at enormous cost by the wealthy Hanseatic city of Lübeck, this ship launched with hopes as high as its towering masts. But just as the Adler was ready for war, peace abruptly arrived, leaving the mighty vessel without a purpose. The world watched with awe and a hint of bewilderment. Despite its daunting firepower and massive capacity, able to transport over 1,000 men, the Adler's wartime career ended before it even began. Instead of leading fleets into naval glory, the ship became a merchant workhorse, hauling cargo across the Baltic and Atlantic. Historians still marvel at how this giant outclassed nearly every contemporary ship. Even the formidable Swedish warship Mars paled in comparison. The Adler symbolized not just military ambition, but raw economic power and the ability to imagine on a grand scale. And yet, its story ended quietly, broken up for scrap just 2 decades after its launch. How could such a symbol of power fade so quickly from the world stage, leaving behind only fragments and legends? The fate of the Adler von Lübeck is a reminder that even the mightiest creations can be outpaced by history itself. But the sea is filled with stories like this: ships lost, ambitions shattered, and mysteries left unanswered. And as we look back on these forgotten giants, one question lingers: how many other secrets still remain just below the surface? But these stories are only a glimpse into a world teeming with forgotten battles, secret alliances, and baffling mysteries that history books barely scratch the surface of. If today's revelations left you amazed, imagine what else lurks in the shadows of the past, waiting to be unearthed. I'm just getting started, and there are far stranger, more unbelievable tales to explore in the episodes ahead. Make sure to stick around, because I'm determined to bring you even more jaw-dropping discoveries and shocking truths that will completely change the way you see history. You won't want to miss what's coming next.